Hi, I'm Morgan McCollum. I'm here on another week at my time at the Commonwealth during my Alexa Rose Residency. Last week was Thanksgiving. Today is Tuesday. It is not Monday. I was sick all over the weekend, and yesterday I lost track of what day it was because the Thursday holiday is weird. So, yeah, I missed recording yesterday, so I am here to record tonight. I got down to the Commonwealth and I parked and I realized that I forgot my SD cards. So I couldn't record my audio, I couldn't record my video. So I had to hop back in my car, drive back home and get those cards, turn around, drive back here. Got here about 7:30. It's about 8:30 now. Spent some time setting up this shot. I don't know why, but it just wasn't clicking for me. I came in and I saw these paintings on the floor here. I have an idea of who they are, but I'm not positive, so I don't want to say. But I was kind of struck by them being in progress. Not the paintings themselves, but the installation of the paintings is in progress. There used to be a really big blue painting behind me, and that was in a couple of my videos, and there's something new coming in here, and that's part of what this whole place is. It's change, it's activity, it's things moving. And yeah, so it took me about an hour to get this shot set up. I went back and forth on what I wanted for the lighting, what I wanted for the composition. I think I'm happy with it now. I'm really conscious as I do these videos of how many times I say and I'm trying to prevent that. I always, not always, but I have been for quite a while, been trying to pay attention to that. As a communication degree holder, one of the things that one of my comm teachers said was that the mark of a really great speaker is that you'll see that they don't say they might pause or something, but they don't use those verbal fillers the same way that most of us do. So Thanksgiving is a time for thinking about what you're thankful for, thinking about the opportunities that you've had, the opportunities that you are given, what is the word that I'm thinking of? Anyway, for a shot of me sitting on the floor, this took a lot. But during Thanksgiving, during this time, I'm really grateful that although I did get sick, although I haven't had the chance to really record things, I have had the time to engage with my family, engage with my friends remotely. I do feel like I missed out. I don't know that there was a whole lot happening here this week with the holiday, but I do feel like I missed out on being here again this week. In my space, I can see that Luma has definitely made some progress on paintings, moved some things around. Yeah, I can see that things are changing in that space, but I need to talk with them. I need to interview them. I have spoken with Searle's Place, and I have an interview set up with them during the week of mid-December, December 16th. So that'll be a good one. I'm excited to talk to them. They do so many cool things. They're involved in so many cool things, and through their nonprofit, they touch so much stuff, and it's really amazing. So I'm excited to talk to them. We're going to talk a little bit about who Searle was, why there's the Searle Mitchell, I think. I apologize if I got that wrong. But why there's the Searle Live Work District here in Garden City, and why that's like her legacy. But that's all part of what it takes for art to survive in a community. I've been spending some time reading through Dr. Tilly Bubb's dissertation. And in that, she writes about in essence, what I'm wanting to talk about with this documentary is, and she talks about what is needed for artists to live in a space or live in a community. And she's looking at it from the perspective of a public servant, public administrator. That's the term I'm looking for. And that's one of the angles. But in it, she talks about how it's multi-pronged. It takes philanthropy, it takes business buy-in, it takes government buy-ins. And those are all things that I want to explore. And Searle's Place is one of those places that is, through private donorship, it's become this big art institute. And I mean, Alexa Rose is a very similar, not similar in function or process. I'm not familiar with either one to say that they're the same by any means, but in the same way that from these individuals, at least in name, we get these art funding resources. And again, I mean, Alexa Rose touches a lot, but I know that Searle's Place touches with scholarship funds, and their umbrella is big, and they take in, as part of the 501c umbrella thing, you know, they're able to help out fledgling nonprofits before they have their full nonprofit ship. Feeling a bit silly tonight, I guess. There is an installation being put in downstairs. There's this installation being put in up here, upstairs. So there's a little bit of activity, even though it's nearly 9 o'clock at night. Uh, Most of the times when I do these, I have the building to myself. It's quiet. I feel I'm a bit rambly tonight, but I feel like I've got a lot better energy than I did the last go around. I was a little down and out, and I said the word earlier here, but it's weird, right? So yeah, being reflective, being thankful for this opportunity here. And I didn't want to, even though I'm a day late recording this, I didn't want to skip it. I didn't feel like that would be right. I felt like that would be letting myself down on my commitment to this residency as it is right now. Again, I'm sitting on the floor. I was compelled when I saw these works on the floor. I thought it was a really cool way to get a bunch of stuff, a bunch of art in the shot. And that kind of brings me to another thing 13 minutes into my video that I wanted to talk about. I am a videographer. I am a documentarian. I am an editor and a digital editor at that. I transform the things that I see around me, the real life that I see around me, into an art. There is an art to all of it, and it's been hard for me to accept that and to fight for that. Because with editing, when it's done artfully, when it's done well, it's hidden, it's seamless. When it's bad, it stands out. Like the layman might not be able to point out the flaws in an artwork, but often, if you see things that clash, you know they clash. That's the same with video, with editing, with... There are things that I learned in film school. It wasn't film school. There are things that I learned at media production school that really stick with me. And they're things that I didn't learn until I messed them up. Wow, that was a meandering road. I got off track. But things like the 180 rule, where you have this imaginary line with your interviews or with your subjects, and you don't switch back and forth and look space. There are things that I didn't learn until after I messed them up, and that's pretty much true of everything in my life. But getting back to my original thought, ADD's fun, isn't it? So I love taking stories and cleaning them up and making them presentable. And I love taking life as it exists, the visuals of life as it exists, and showing it in interesting ways, like with close-up shots. So I mean, how often do you as a person get really up close and stare at something right up close? But with my camera, with a little bit of zoom, I can get in there and get those more almost macro shots. I don't have the personal rig this to shoot a lot of the really close things, but it does pretty good. I do pretty good. But I do love a good fictional story, but there's so many real life stories. Every person is full of a lifetime of stories. I have a hope, a dream of recording interviews with family members before they pass, because they have stories that you can't get anywhere else. I, a couple years back, was recording old tapes, mostly tapes, DVDs, old media for my high school. And one of the tapes that I found was about my hometown. And my hometown was a gold rush town, and it was a very important, very populous place for Chinese settlers during the 1850s. And this tape was recorded in the early 2000s, and it had these octogenarians telling their stories. So they would have been born in the 1920s, 1930s, and telling these stories about their grandparents and the things that they experienced growing up Chinese in this California town that had great prosperity during the gold rush and then kind of dwindled down. But I was so awestruck by that tape. And it had a name on it. And it turned out that it was my own ignorance that sent me down a huge rabbit hole that didn't need to happen. But it had a name on it. And it looked like just a person's name. So I assumed it was a student. So I tried to find out who this student was and didn't end up being able to, and reached out to, I Googled it, and I found Google results, and I found a Twitter account that had the name. And so I reached out, and of course the Twitter account was inactive, and so they didn't answer. And I reached out to the Chinese society there, the Chinese museum, and I was like, do you know who this person is? Because the Twitter account had some connection with them, and they couldn't figure it out. And after doing a bit more searching, I found out that the name I was looking for, it was, I believe, Sam Fong. The name was the name that the Chinese had given to the city, or it was the Chinese nickname for the city. It meant something to the effect of important city. And oh no, I spilled my water. So quick edit after I spilled my water. Everything is still recording. So this tape, it had Sam Fong, and it was just the name that the Chinese nickname for the city. And I felt so dumb and so ignorant after searching that all out. But this documentary, it wasn't shot particularly well. It was standard definition because of the time. It just excited me because these people who unfortunately are probably gone. I mean, the odds are based on their age at the time and the time that has passed since. These people have probably passed on, and if these tapes hadn't been there, their story might have been forgotten. And it turns out that my old school had partnered with a documentarian, and they had produced this documentary, and there was a finalized version that was already in possession of the Chinese museum there. And so they didn't need the copy that I was looking at, and that was great. I haven't seen the final one, but I've seen the unfinished version that was there that my school had. And again, yeah, just these real stories from these people that for the most part, these stories they're personal. They're not meant for anyone else's enjoyment. It might be the story of somebody sitting with their grandma while they quilted or crocheted or cooked. And we all have these little moments, little stories that we cherish and love, and if we don't preserve them somehow, then they just go off into the ether. And I'm not a writer. I'm a videographer. I'm a documentarian. I am a boring person who likes to listen to podcasts and audiobooks, and I just like to listen to stories all day long. So I'm guilty of, I would in general just listen to somebody coherently, more coherently than me, talk about their life, what they do. So I just think that there's so many stories that exist out there that are throwaway stories that deserve to be preserved in some form. And I hope that I can help with that. I hope that I can help preserve a moment with these artists that I'm talking to now. I hope that I've helped preserve a moment with the artists that I've talked to in the past. I hope to continue preserving moments. Every documentary, every photograph, every video, it's all a moment in time. It's all these ethereal, ephemeral. An artist I interviewed, Miguel Delgado, he introduced me to a word called liminal. Called liminal. That's a weird way to say that. He introduced me to the word liminal, and I am not as knowledgeable. I'm not as knowledgeable as I could be of the exact term, but it's kind of like this in-between thing. Yeah, our stories are kind of, we all cherish them, but unless they get written down or recorded or documented in some way, they disappear. And it's very important to me to preserve something, to preserve some of it. And maybe that's the data hoarder in me, maybe that, I don't know. But I like collecting stories, I like telling stories, and I like the real stories. I like it can still be done in an artsy way. I don't want to watch a 90-minute newscast, but I like when stories can be told from a real perspective, and it's not an act. I like reality. I'm just ranting at this point. I apologize. My gosh, this video is nearly 30 minutes long, but that's okay. I guess I have a lot to say tonight. As we come up on 9 o'clock, I feel like I should probably wrap things up. I want to talk more about who I am, what I do, about why I shoot video the way I do, why I edit things the way I do. I would love to live stream myself editing. I don't know how many people would be interested in that. I don't know how many people would be able to actually see anything. There's so many small things on the screen, and live streaming just doesn't do well with that. But I want to share. I want to teach. I want to educate. I want to preserve. I want to pass on. That's an odd one to say, isn't it? But I want to preserve moments, those precious moments. So I think I will sign off for now. I'm Morgan McCollum, director, producer, videographer, editor, social media, McCollum Media, McCollum_media on Instagram. Website, boiseartscene.com, McCollummedia.com to take you to the same place. There's a contact form on there if you want to reach out to me. You can reach out through the social medias, but they often get filtered by Meta. So, thank you for watching and getting as far as you did not. I appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week, hopefully on Monday and not Tuesday/Wednesday morning. Bye.